what it is and what's going on. Welcome to another episode of the Sports Talk Eli Podcast. Great to have you guys with me for another episode of the Sports Talk Eli Podcast. We got a fun show for you guys. We're going to talk about the NBA All-Star starters that was announced yesterday. We are going to talk about the Nets potentially trading James Harden and why that would be a bad idea. So if you're watching this on YouTube or you're streaming this on the many podcast apps that I plan on throwing this on, thank you very much. Specifically on YouTube, leave a subscription. It helps out a lot. Leave a like too. And if there's something I can prove on, drop that in the comment section. We're trying to grow the Sports Talk Eli Army, which I hope the Army can grow to its fullest. We'll start the show with this. Last night on the NBA on TNT broadcast, what they did was really cool. They didn't want Shams or Woj. Shout out to them. I love those guys, but they didn't want them leaking that information. So they did it sort of how they did the 1980, I want to say 85 or 88. No, not 88. Probably 86 or 87. One of those years, the year that Patrick Ewing got drafted, where they had a briefcase. And that's how they announced the All-Star starters. So in the Eastern Conference, we have Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks making his second All-Star, which is pretty cool. Have DeMar DeRozan of the Chicago Bulls, which well-deserved. Again, you have at the small forward your captain, Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets. Power forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Why am I saying power forward? Power forward doesn't even exist anymore in the NBA. Let's be for real. And we have at center, Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. I think the East one they nailed. Some people can make a case that rather than Trae Young, you get Zach LaVine. I'm not complaining. Either or it will be fine. Trae is one of the best young point guards in the league. Zach LaVine plays on the best team in the NBA. And I personally look at All-Star votes as individual award. It shouldn't be team merit. Like, we do base it on winning. And winning should have some type of criteria. But if you're killing it, you deserve to be an All-Star. If you're killing it, also, since it's also fan voted too, we can't forget about that. One of the best players in the league. You're putting up crazy numbers, and the fans like you. Why not? You deserve to be an All-Star. Plain and simple. But things got a little crazy when they did the Western Conference. So in the backcourt, we have point guard Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors. Steph kind of was starting off really good, but kind of falling off a little bit. He's having some crazy shooting nights. Hopefully Steph can get it back together. Jordan came in the backcourt, though, was where I was really surprised. But then I thought about it. Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Ja Morant is currently leading the Grizzlies to, believe they are the 3rd or 4th seed. They're a top 5 team in the Western Conference. Ja is averaging 24 points per game, and he looks like one of the best point guards in the league. So, I'm not surprised. The only thing that really is kind of crazy is because the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the league, and neither Devin Booker or Chris Paul are being voted to the All-Star game. They definitely deserve to be starters, in my opinion. Especially Devin Booker, who's just balling out right now. Then things got even crazier when they did the front court. So, you have Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, and joining him in the front court would be LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers. Nobody's surprised. Another season, another year of dominance with LeBron, another All-Star vote. Whip-de-doo. But then, at small forward, or at forward, I should say, because once again, positions aren't a thing in NBA, it's Andrew Wiggins. Now, I personally feel that Wiggins isn't all-star starter material. We typically preserve that for one of the best players in the league. I would have gone with a Rudy Gobert over Andrew Wiggins, but that's me personally. Now, can we make a case that Andrew Wiggins should be an all-star, period? There's a strong case. He's averaging 18 a game, shooting 40% for 3, playing some really good defense. He's like, some nights he's their second best player, 3rd, 4th player, I guess now that Clay's back, probably move down to 4th player on a really good Warriors team, a team that many people think can potentially go to the finals if they can get it together. it's not hard to make a case for Andrew Wiggins being an all-star. Just all-star starter, no. No. Now we also have to consider the fact that in that position, who would you have gone with? Typically, it probably would have been a Paul George or a Kawhi Leonard. But Paul George and Kawhi Leonard of the LA Clippers are both out with injuries. Which, get back soon, because the Clippers team, oof. But those two would definitely make things interesting in the Western Conference, without a doubt. So, like I said, I don't necessarily think Wiggins is all-star starter, which we preserve for the best players in the league, but you can make a case for the boy to be an all-star reserve. You can definitely make a case for him. And that's where things get kind of murky. But it's pretty cool. I can't wait for the All-Star game. I can't wait for to announce the reserve. Twitter's going to be on fire tonight because they're going to be, oh, he should have been an All-Star this year. He should have been an All-Star this year. And I love it. I love it. It's every year. Every year, the NBA and its All-Star folks. All right, so our next story that I want to tackle today is your boy Brooklyn Nets. Your boy Brooklyn Nets. Your boy James Harden. Name has been tossed around as a potential trade candidate for the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, we know the Sixers have that whole trade situation with Ben Simmons, and now they're turning their attention to James Harden. And with the rumor of Harden potentially entertaining free agency, which is why he didn't sign over the summer when Kevin Durant and Kyrie did, it kind of opens the door for Philadelphia to say, hey, if you want to play with Joel Embiid, you want to win a championship in Philadelphia, and it kind of sees why Daryl Morey has not pulled the trigger on a Ben Simmons trade yet. Even ignoring that fantastic trade package they did with the Kings who threw their hat in the Ben Simmons race, they was going to give up Tyrese Halliburton, going to give up Buddy Hield, they were going to give up 2 first-round draft picks and Harrison Barnes. And the Sixers would have got off Tobias Harris's contract. They would have gave up Ben Simmons. They would have gave up Dybul too, which I know they don't want to do that. Which, by the way, Dybul was just a big liability for them in the playoffs. So I don't understand. Like, I get it. He's locked now. He's one of the better young defensive wings in the league. And I would have loved to see what a Tyrese Maxey and Tyrese Halliburton backcourt looked like. Oh, the Tyrese backcourt. See, Philly kind of messed up there. They could have had that backcourt with 2 guys saying the first names, but I would have loved to have seen what that backcourt would have looked like. But the way Maxey's playing this year, along with Halliburton, who, when he wasn't playing with De'Aaron Fox, shows you what he was able to do. The boy, I think he was averaging like 22 and 10. So it'll be interesting to see if after this season, where the Nets are considered a title contender, if they don't go to the finals this year again, and then James Harden actually entertains the idea of getting out of Brooklyn and going to the Sixers, it would be chaos. It's a big hypothetical. We're still in the middle of the season. The Nets are just still trying to figure things out with their big three, with Kyrie only playing road games and Kevin Durant's injury. But if I'm Daryl Morey, and I'll be keeping track, Sean Marks every month this summer, hey, I know you guys didn't win it all. Hey, you want to trade James Harden? Because Daryl Morey wants to definitely give up Ben Simmons for a superstar. And James Harden is that superstar who can make a difference in Philadelphia. And it's a right player you put next to Joel Embiid, who's killing it this year. I think Embiid's averaging close to 30 points per game. And he looks like the best big man in basketball. He's having a Shaq King kind of season. Having a James Harden next to a Joel Embiid and what he's doing right now would definitely be exciting for Philly fans. And definitely the Nets will get Ben Simmons back, and probably, Ben Simmons as a playmaker next to some dynamic scorers like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving would be kind of interesting. So I'm not denying that as well. But it's a hypothetical. A lot of dominoes would have to fall if a trade like that does happen. All right, so when we come back, we will discuss some other crazy storylines in the NBA. Keep it locked. You're watching the Sports Talk Eli podcast. Putting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're back. I want to talk about few more things, a few more topics I have on my mind here. The New York Knicks have released a statement saying that everybody who's a veteran on their roster is up for grabs. So guys like Alec Burke, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, Julius Randle, most improved player of the year, the guy who led them to the playoffs last year. The Knicks might trade. And I'm not going to lie, the way the Knicks have played this season, they've played very lackluster. They've showed no heart on defense. Offensive some nights, they just put up duds. Might be the best thing for the Knicks to do to embrace the younger talent. In recent years, they showed, unlike decades previous, that the New York Knicks can draft. They found Emmanuel quickly. Obi Toppin is developing and getting better each and every night. Guys like Miles McBride and Quentin Grimm showed that they can be key rotational players. And play Cam Reddish. Play Cam Reddish. The kid shows you what he can do in Atlanta. Start the kid and let him see what he can do right next to R.J. Barrett. I think the Atlanta Hawks. I think the New York Knicks should blow up their roster. I think we should rebuild. We should tank. You got a fun young core of Quickly, Barrett, Mitchell, Obi, McBride, Cam, and a potential top 5 pick would be something really, really interesting for the New York Knicks. And I think that's something they should definitely do. One of the teams that I've enjoyed watching this season is the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are currently the 3rd or 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. They're in between. I think they and Milwaukee are competing for 3rd right now. They have been playing really fun basketball this year. They are one of the better defensive teams in the league. I think they're ranked top 10. They have that amazing front line of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. They have 2 big centers at 4 and 5. No team in the NBA plays like that anymore. Then it's Cleveland, who has 2 actual bigs and found a way to make it work. Evan Mobley, who looks like the MVP, and some nights has them show you flashes of Chris Bosh, Tim Duncan, and other great power forwards that came before him. I think by the time he gets to year 3, year 4, we're going to hopefully he's polished and hopefully he's making some all-star games. The kid looks really good. And not forget to mention my boy Darius Garland, who also looks really, really, really good. Cleveland has been just so fun to watch, and I don't think they're going to win a championship this year. They're still a young core. They have some solid veterans on the roster like Kevin Love, Rajon Rondo. They had Ricky Rubio, but it's out this year due to a torn ACL. And by the way, Darius Garland, who's currently averaging 20 and 8, is thriving with the ball more in his hands. Colin Sexton was the leading scorer of the Cavs last year. Took the ball out of Sexton's hands, and look what's happening. Garland is blossoming in front of our eyes. I like Colin Sexton. I really think he can thrive on the roster where he's like their 6th man. Like, he can thrive in that Monte Ellis role. I'm trying to think of a time in Monte. Okay, I don't think Monte ever come off the bench, but he can thrive off that J.R. Smith role, which is a guy who can score off your bench. I don't really see a starting 2 guard, and plus he's undersized as well, so I don't really see him thriving. And maybe his time in Cleveland might be up.